Carl Jung, the man who mapped the depths of the human soul, the founder of analytical psychology. The Freemasons, the world's most famous secret society, a brotherhood that claims to hold the keys to building a more perfect world and a more perfect self. On the surface, they exist in different realms. One of clinical science and the mind, the other of ancient ritual and veiled symbolism. But what if their paths were not just parallel, but deeply, profoundly intertwined? What if Carl Jung, in his revolutionary exploration of the human psyche, rediscovered the very same truths that have been taught in secret lodges for centuries? This leads us to a tantalizing question that echoes in esoteric circles. Was Carl Jung a member of this ancient craft? Perhaps even a high-ranking 33rd degree Mason? The answer to that question is far more fascinating than a simple yes or no, because the real secret isn't about a membership card. It's about the staggering parallels between his work and their wisdom. The real question is, did Carl Jung uncover their greatest secret all on his own? First, let's address the question head-on. To be a successful seeker of truth, we must start with the facts. Is there any historical record of Carl Gustav Jung being initiated into a Masonic lodge? The answer is that there is no evidence. There is no public record, no lodge minutes, no personal letters that confirm his membership. But to stop there would be to miss the entire story. Because while Jung may not have been a Mason, he was born from Masonry. The influence was undeniably woven into the fabric of his life. His paternal grandfather, Carl Gustav Jung the Elder, was a renowned physician and intellectual. He was also, and this is the crucial point, the Grand Master of the Grand Lodge Alpina of Switzerland from 1850 to 1856. This wasn't just a casual membership. He was the leader of Swiss Freemasonry. The influence doesn't stop there. Jung's own father was also a Mason. Jung was born into a direct lineage of Masonic leadership. This ethos of symbolism, morality, and the search for light was the very air he breathed. The archetypal language of the craft was the language of his home. This raises a far more compelling question. If he wasn't a formal member, how did his work become a near-perfect psychological blueprint for the entire Masonic quest? The real secret lies not in a lodge registry, but in the shocking alignment of their core goals. Jung's work doesn't just touch on Masonic ideas, it gives us a modern user manual for them. Let's explore the three great parallels. Parallel 1. The Great Work and Individuation. Imagine you are given a rough, jagged stone and told your life's purpose is to turn it into a perfect, smooth cube. This is the core mission of a Freemason. They call it perfecting the ashlar. The ashlar is a symbol for your own character. The tools they use, the gavel, the chisel, are symbols for discipline, education, and morality. You are chipping away at your flaws, your anger, your ignorance, your bad habits, to become the best version of yourself. This is also what ancient alchemists called the great work. They wrote about turning lead into gold, but this was a metaphor. The lead was you, your messy, chaotic, everyday self. The gold was also you, your ideal self, wise, balanced, and whole. Now here is what Carl Jung discovered. He gave this exact process a modern name: individuation. Jung said that we are all born like an unsolved puzzle. We have all these different pieces. The person we show to the world, our persona, the hidden dark parts we don't like, our shadow, and our inner masculine and feminine energies. Individuation is simply the process of putting your own puzzle together. It's about honestly looking at all your pieces, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and fitting them together to create a complete picture. So you see, the Mason perfects his stone. The alchemist creates his gold. the Jungian integrates his psyche. It's the exact same journey described in 3 different languages. Parallel 2, universal symbols, Masonic tools and archetypes. Why are symbols so powerful? Why does a skull immediately make us think of death, or a heart make us think of love, no matter what language we speak? Carl Jung himself gave us the key. He said, "The symbol is the primitive expression of the psyche." What does he mean by primitive? He means it's not a language we learn from books. It's a raw, instinctual language that our deepest self, our psyche, already knows how to speak. It's a direct line to our subconscious. This is where Jung developed his revolutionary idea of archetypes and the collective unconscious. He believed that all of humanity is connected to a shared psychic reservoir, like a spiritual internet, that is filled with these powerful, universal symbols. Now, think about a Masonic lodge. It's filled with these exact kinds of archetypal symbols. The leader represents the wise old man archetype. The new member's journey mirrors the hero's journey archetype. The black and white checkered floor symbolizes the eternal struggle between light and darkness. But perhaps the most stunning and concrete example is a Masonic ritual known as circumambulation. This is the act of ceremonially walking around a central altar in the lodge. On the surface, it represents the journey of life through darkness and towards light. But Jung saw this exact pattern in cultures all over the world. He wrote that this circling is a fundamental human instinct, representing the journey towards the self, the central organizing point of our own psyche. The parallel is undeniable. In the Masonic Lodge, the initiate physically walks the path of the hero's journey archetype, circling the altar. In Jungian psychology, the individual mentally circles the concept of the self to achieve wholeness. It is the exact same archetypal process, one acted out in ritual, the other described in psychology. The Masons perform the symbol. Jung explained the profound psychological truth that gives it power. Parallel 3. Facing your dark side, Gnosticism and the shadow. Here's the most challenging and most important parallel. Many ancient groups called the Gnostics had a strange belief. They thought the world was created by a flawed, imperfect God, and that a spark of true, divine light was trapped inside each of us, lost in the darkness of the material world. Their goal was to rescue that spark through gnosis, or direct intuitive knowledge. This story of a lost word or a lost light is the absolute bedrock of Masonic legend. Carl Jung was fascinated by this Gnostic myth because he saw it as a brilliant metaphor for a psychological truth. He said that inside every one of us, there is a shadow. The shadow is a collection of all the parts of ourselves that we hide from the world, and even from ourselves. It's our jealousy, our anger, our fears, our insecurities. We spend most of our lives pretending this shadow doesn't exist. We shove it down into the basement of our mind and lock the door. Jung's great discovery was this: you cannot become a whole person by ignoring your dark side. True wisdom and personal growth, what Jung called individuation, only happens when you are brave enough to go down into that basement, turn on the light, and have a conversation with your shadow. You don't have to let it control you, but you must acknowledge it and integrate its energy. This is the ultimate secret. The Masons talk about bringing light from darkness. The Gnostics talked about finding the spark in the material world. Jung simply gave us the modern terms. You must integrate your shadow to become whole. You cannot find your inner light without first being willing to face your own darkness. So we return to our original question. Was Carl Jung a 33rd degree Freemason? In the literal, historical sense, the answer is that there is no evidence that he was. But in a far more meaningful, philosophical sense, he was perhaps the greatest master builder of the 20th century. He didn't need to join the lodge because he rebuilt the temple from the inside out, using the tools of psychology. He took the secret wisdom of the great work, the power of symbols, and the necessity of confronting the darkness, and he translated it into a language the entire world could understand. He gave humanity a public blueprint for the very same esoteric work that the Masons have practiced behind closed doors. He didn't just learn their secrets. He revealed the psychological science that proves their validity. Thank you for watching. If you feel called to explore your own inner temple and integrate the light and dark within yourself, then you are in the right place. Our journey here at Quantum Enigma is to continue decoding these profound truths. To add your energy to this quest, activate that like button. And to ensure you don't miss the next step on our journey, become a part of this channel by subscribing. Until next time.